Ahoy hoy! Welcome back to my channel. Yeah. Today, we're going to answer 10 questions to ask yourself on your birthday this year. Now, my birthday was actually 2 days ago. I already celebrated it, and I didn't come on because my youngest child was at home sick. She was sick this past week, so today is the first day she went back to school, and it's a Friday, so this is a little bit belated, but I figure it's better late than never. So I'm kind of hoping to get really, really challenged answering these questions because they sound like prompts that you get with essays, but they're meant to really make you think. Okay, first question. What made me feel most alive over the last year? What have I felt most like myself? Or when have I felt most like myself? When have I felt most like myself? I mean, I always feel like myself, really. I mean, something you gotta know about me, I don't try hard to get jealous of others and what they have. I know I have, and, I slip at times, but it's usually when I'm not in a good headspace. But for the most part, I feel like I'm myself a lot. I never really tried to conform to make people like me, which could be a problem with me being on YouTube and stuff, but I never sacrificed who I was to make other people like me and stuff. So I never had to battle with that kind of feeling. And I've been like that since I was a teenager. But I feel like in the last year, I've come to a lot of conclusions that is causing a shift in my life that is going in a direction that I feel more comfortable going in. Because, especially if you're new to my channel, for the longest time, I wanted to become a professional entertainer. I wanted to become an actress. I am a former competitive dancer. I even majored in theater. But now my views on the entertainment industry have shifted a lot in the last decade. However, I think it all came to a head just last year. And it's not just what's going on in Hollywood, it's just my perspective of things. I feel like these days, a lot of what's coming out of the entertainment industry is nothing but remakes, reboots, sequels, prequels. You don't get a lot of originality like you used to. And then there's a lot of, people prefer doing reality shows and stuff like that. So it's been slipping, I said 10 years, but it's probably 20 years. And bear in mind, I'm in my 40s, early 40s. So in October of last year, I just had an empathy? No, that's not the right word. I just had an epiphany that I didn't want. Actually, it was earlier than that. I had an epiphany last year that I wasn't going to focus on being a professional entertainer anymore. And not that I'm close to Hollywood to pull that off, but putting too much focus on YouTube in order to accomplish that. Because I realize the more I try at doing stuff, I do fall hard. Because I'm one of these people that doesn't do well when I try real hard for some strange reason. I do better when I don't try much at all, which is hilarious in a weird way. But I still want to make YouTube videos for the fun of it, and I still want to entertain people for the fun of it, but doing it as a career, doing my focus on that has shifted a lot. And I still want to be a writer. I'm still working on novels and have the aim of publishing them, but I learned over the years that I'm not exactly a good writer. Not because of the way I write, but because I cannot pump out books fast enough. And I know that shouldn't be a measure of how good I'm a writer, but there's a reason why I don't do series, because you would wait for a long time. I mean, it's been 9 years, almost 9 years, since I published my novel. And even though I did some stories for a magazine, I mean, I didn't get paid for that, and I don't make a lot of money being a published author, so... But, I mean, I do feel accomplished being a published writer. Being a published author, that is. So it's shifted from that, and the thing that you guys may not know, especially if you're new to my channel, is that I am partially scientist and there's a partial artist in me. And I always focus on the artistic side of me. Now I'm going to the scientific side of me because, you know, in the last few months I've decided to go back to college to major in geography and try to get a degree in geography so I can do work in disaster preparedness. And I mean, a lot of people are like, I don't get how that's related, but it is related in a lot of ways because you got to know about topography and you got to know what areas would get hit by certain disasters over others. And then just prepare that, you know, shit can happen regardless. And I think I mentioned that in a few videos back and stuff. So yeah, but anyway, I always feel like I'm myself most of the time anyway. I don't feel like I'm a different person. What has made me feel most alive over the last year? I mean, whenever I go swimming, to be honest. I mean, I feel very at my most alive when I go swimming. Because I'm passionate about swimming the most. So, whenever I go swimming, I feel alive. I feel rejuvenated. I feel reborn. I feel immense pleasure when I swim. And I feel peaceful. And that's every year. But, I mean... If you're looking at it from a thriller point of view, I did go down a water slide at a water park in Chesapeake Beach in Maryland last July, and it was this big, tall water slide that was enclosed, that was black, and I was told to tuck my chin into my chest, which I never heard before, and, you know, do the usual cross your arms and cross your legs. And I went down it, and it was really fast, and you don't know where you're going because it's dark inside. Man, I came out of that thing with my heart racing because I was like this, and, I mean, I guess I shouldn't go on it because I have asthma, but, like, it didn't really bother me. It was, I mean, I had, like, a, you know, for a bit, but I wasn't hyperventilating or wheezing or anything like that, but I felt pretty alive doing that. Yep. Okay, question number 2. What was the best advice I received this year? My lipstick is going away from that. Wow, I learned something recently, that if I'm going to put whiskey into coffee, to make sure you use a cheap whiskey rather than expensive whiskey, which I did not know about. So I guess I'll count that as advice. 3, what gifts have I given others this year? For Valentine's Day, I gave my significant other, what are they called? It's a salty licorice hard candy you suck on. I want to say Turkish. It's not really Turkish, though, I don't think. It's definitely not Turkish Delights. But it's a nasty candy. I don't like licorice at all. And I gave my 2 kids a chocolate rose that was just chocolate at the top. I gave friends of ours a heart-shaped container that had heart-shaped candy in it, in a card, because they're going through a rough time right now. For my mom, for her birthday in January, I gave her like a tea lover set that came with a mug, a little thing that keeps your tea bag on, socks that said "I love tea," because she likes socks too. And I forgot the other thing that was in there. I think a strainer or something for loose tea. So yeah, and that's just in the 3 months. But I gave other gifts too, like I gave my significant other a UFO shaped container full of these UFO candies. I don't know if we have them in the U.S., but like in Sweden, the outside's like crispy, like a wafer, and then on the inside is this powder that, in my opinion, does not taste good. But my significant other loves it, so that's why I got it for him. And then I got my kids gifts for Christmas, like got my get my parents a baby doll for my daughter, and Star Wars stuff for my son. And I gave my niece, my brother's daughter, these two little stuffed moose that were hugging each other. That said Sweden on them, because she has a stuffed animal collection of stuffed animals that her parents get whenever they go on business trips. They get something from an airport for her. So I decided to continue their tradition and stuff. So that's a few gifts I gave them to people on the top of my head. 4. What's most memorable about me right now? What do I want to be most memorable about me? I'm going to answer this backwards. I'm going to start with that second part first. I want to be memorable for good things. I want to be memorable for positivity that I live in the world, which is hilarious when you look at me, because I don't look like I'm a positive person, but my disorder just causes me to lack a lot of emotion in my face. So unless there's something that really, 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 really gets me happy or whatnot, I don't show much emotion in my face, but I feel positive and stuff. But yeah, I just want to leave my mark on the world in a positive way. I want to help others, and that's what I want to be remembered for. I used to be not obsessed, but I did want to leave my mark on the world positively. There's some things I'm leaving behind, like my novel and stuff, but like, if anyone remembers me, I want them to remember me in a positive way and stuff. Just by helping others and stuff like that. What's most memorable about me right now? I think what people would most memorize me by, other than, trying to be generous to people, is being weird. That's what comes off my head right now. That and being a good dancer. I'm not the best in the world, but I like to think I'll be remembered for being a good dancer, being talented, being creative, that kind of thing. So, and yeah, I also want to be remembered for those things too down the road, but yeah. I just want people to remember me in a good way. Number 5. What's something I want to do that seems impossible? What would I need to change to make it possible in the coming year? Oh, God. Okay. There's a lot of dreams I have, by the way. I don't have like a one-track genre of things I want to do. It's all over the place. First of all, one thing I know would be impossible is probably swimming the English Channel. I've thought about it off and on, about doing this for years. The only reason why I won't try is because I don't have much outdoor experience swimming. The thing is, when you swim outdoors and there's no markers, like there's no lanes set up or whatnot, it can get disorienting. You have to use things around you, as a way to stay oriented and stuff. Like when I swim in the lakes, I would use the pier, I would use certain trees or certain buildings to know how far I've swim in the lake, you know. Um, but once you get in places like an ocean, that's going to take you a while to figure out where you're at. It can be very disorienting and stuff, unless you trained yourself how to, navigate in that kind of thing. Now, one thing that I would think would be more attainable for me, and I might do this next year, we'll see. But in my state of Maryland, there's something called the Great Bay Swim. It started, I think, in the 80s. And it started off as this man swimming across the Chesapeake Bay, where it's near the bridge. And usually he ends at, I think, no. Just look up the Great Bay Swim and you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's basically started as a dude as swimming in the Chesapeake Bay for a certain amount of distance, usually 4 miles. And, he did it in honor of his father, because his father passed away, and he did it in his father's memory. And that's how it started. Well, there's 4 miles, which I know I can't do in one day. I can do 1.5 miles the most so far. And that's been in a swimming pool. I have not accomplished this in open water yet. And I especially don't have a lot of experience swimming in... I used to swim for the fun of it in the Chesapeake Bay. But, the thing is, I have never done a lot of laps in the Chesapeake Bay. Or anything like the Chesapeake Bay. You're not only dealing with the current, but you're also dealing with sea nettles, which are definitely out during that time when they do the Great Bay Swim. So you have to wear certain swimwear to do it. And so I don't have a lot of experience doing that, but the thing they're starting now this year that I noticed is they also have a mile swim option that you can do, which I can do. Even if I'd never swim a mile in open water before, I swam a mile in the pool before. And it takes me usually 1.5 hours to do that. So I think it's already too late, I think, to register to do it this year. But I think I'll try to do it next year. And, I can swim laps in the lake. But again, lake water is different from bay water. So yeah, and even though it doesn't really seem impossible for most people, I think for me personally, just going back to school at my age to get another degree may seem impossible. Only because I had a hard time in school the first time around. Now, when I say this, I don't mean I struggled to get good grades or to even pass. I never had that problem. But it felt like it, I had an assessment test done about 2 years ago. And it was in for investigation to see if I had something. And I didn't have it, but it turns out I had something else. And these issues that I have do tie into the thing I have now. But one of them was I don't process information fast enough. One could say I'm slow, but in certain areas. Like if it's hands-on activities or, I learn hands-on quicker than I can, say, listening to lectures or taking notes. I learn quicker by, watching someone choreograph a dance routine or doing blocking in a play and stuff like that. I learn quick that way. I just don't learn quick in the area that you need for school. Um, and this was actually the one thing in the assessment test that the I tested below average on. And I mean, not it wasn't super low. It was just I'm talking about it was a few points below average. But I mean, it's still below average, but it's not like super duper below average. So, because I have issues learning quick, I need a certain amount of time to know something before we get tested on it. And that is what kicks my ass. If I have my own time, I can learn something in my own pace and then I can do the test. Or, if I don't put pressure on myself, I could do the test or whatnot. Or even take tests for fun. I mean, if I could take tests for fun, but if there's like, something behind it, like you need this to pass this and, get a degree, that's a different story for me. So, in my head, it seems impossible, but given that I have a diagnosis now, I'm hoping that my psychiatrist can help the schools deal with that, as well as help me deal with that. Although, since I didn't know what I had for the longest time, I pretty much had to learn on my own how to manage it. And that's usually just practicing, and doing things in my way in order to just retain the knowledge. So, yeah. So that's the big one, going back to school this fall, if I do that. Who has inspired me most this year? What qualities do they have that I admire? That's a good one. The problem with me is I don't usually have one person I aspire to. It's a lot of people. From a writer standpoint, like Stephen King inspires me. Christine Feehan inspires me. Amanda Ashley inspires me. Charlene Harris inspires me. R.L. Stein inspires me because, usually my genres are supernatural thrillers or whatnot. So that's in that respect. And then as an actress, or as as someone who wanted to be an actress, I like Julie Andrews. I like Robin Williams. I like Monty Python. I like, Thea James, Gerard Butler, Daniel Radcliffe. And as a YouTuber, PewDiePie, Underworld, which is, I've reviewed some of his videos before, but they were disastrous because the program I was using was causing them to download pretty slowly. So, but him, and German food reviews and Junk Food Taster, who are food review channels. So, and I forgot her name, but I know her name is Aisling. She's a YouTuber from Ireland, and she inspired me to be cruelty-free a few years ago. I know it's not last year, but it was a few years ago. And then, even though they're dead, Ted Fujita, Maurice and Katja Kraft, Jim Leonard. If you don't know who they are, Jim Leonard was a major storm chaser who died in 2014 from cancer. Maurice and Katja Kraft were volcanologists who filmed a lot of volcanoes. They were killed by a pyroclastic cloud in 1991, I think. And then Ted Fujita is basically the guy behind the Fujita scale, or the enhanced Fujita scale. So those people appeal to my scientific side. And then I was inspired by Bob Ross as an artist, So I have a lot of people that I'm inspired by, basically. So, yeah. What qualities do they have that I admire? Um, well, with the actors and the comedians' talent, creativity. Um, like with Monty Python, for example, when they came out in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, you could get away with a lot more back then. I mean, they were like basically the original shock comedians, basically, where they were really pushing the envelope. Um, and I mean, their sketches are memorable, especially their movies. I mean, are they controversial? Definitely, but sometimes sometimes things are controversial. Um, Same thing with PewDiePie, from a YouTuber perspective. He was into shock comedy and stuff when he was first starting out, but you know, now that he's like quote unquote on the verge of retiring from YouTube and going to become a father soon, I like how humble he is. And Swedes are typically humble people, and um, yeah, he acts like a typical Swede. um, they're not a fearful bunch. Let's just say that. Like, they're not fearful much. And while he did controversial things too, some of the things that he got in trouble for are not really big issues in Sweden. Not to say that the Swedes are racist, but like what he said that got him in trouble in that one video, I think from 2014 or so, that word's not really major here because not a lot of people like that were living here initially. It's been increasing in like the last 10 years. So he didn't grow up learning that word was bad and stuff. In other words. And let's see, Underworld, I just like what he does with his videos. He does a lot of disaster clips and stuff. And I mean, with the ones that inspire me is from my scientific side. With the crafts, they were gutsy, absolutely gutsy, and yeah, that did cause them their demise in the end. But they got a lot of footage of volcanoes and aftermath of volcanoes. I mean, some of their videos are learning tools in how to deal with volcanoes. And TWD to help people, especially in the United States, understand how tornadoes work. Especially after the outbreak in, I want to say 74. Is that 74? 1974 when they had that outbreak. And Jim Leonard has taken so many awesome pics of storms. And of course, storm chasers really do help capture what tornadoes can do. But not just the danger of them, but also the beauty of them. So, yeah. 7. What's something I accomplished in the last year that I'm proud of? Okay, well, spoiler alert from the last video. If you didn't watch my last video, I was playing Oregon Trail, the 1990 version. The version that a lot of us played in schools when we were in 6th grade and middle school and stuff. That was hard as hell to beat. I had gotten in the top 10 last year. It was last summer, so I was still 40 when I did this. And last week I played it in hopes of beating my score. I was 10th place, so I was hoping, beat the score but still be in 10th place. And if I beat other people, that was a bonus. So I wasn't really trying to beat other people, just my own score. And if you haven't seen it yet, major spoiler alert, I accomplished my goal in more ways than one. Not only did I beat my own score. I beat 2 other people, so now I'm more than just in the top 10. I'm actually 8th place now in the whole entire game. So yeah, I'm quite proud of that. And I feel like my knowledge in history and geography kind of helped out a bit. So, but don't get me wrong, it's mostly a game to focus on strategy rather than anything else. But if you have a good knowledge of history as well as geography, that could help you, score big. And as I said, on the video, the link, you can go to the game through the link I have in the description box on that video. But it's on the State of Oregon site, so you don't have to download it. And it's a brilliant way to advertise your state, really. So I'm proud of that. I'm trying to think of anything else I accomplished that makes me happy. But yeah, that's the biggest one. So, yeah. 8. What am I willing to struggle for this year? I am willing to... I refer to this year as the year of the push. Like, I'm pushing myself to go out of my comfort zone a lot to do stuff. I'm willing to deal with my social anxiety by joining my kids' orienteering club and meeting new people and socializing with them. And not only that, pushing myself physically now. I'm not much of a runner, but I'm willing to do that, especially when I'm not active in swimming. I usually go on hiatus from swimming in the wintertime. So orienteering will help fill the gap when I'm on hiatus from swimming. I'm willing to go back to college this autumn to major in geographies, and I'm going to struggle with what I mentioned already, the issue that I don't process information quick enough. But I'm hoping, since it's a subject I like, I hope I do fairly well on it. And I already have a associate's degree, so I'm kind of hoping that I'm just in school for 2 years, trying to get the geography degree. And again, dealing with social anxiety. And tomorrow I'm having a party for my birthday for the first time in like 5 years. Now, sometimes I didn't have it because I was sick, but other times, just dealing with my paranoia. That's stuff. So, yeah. It's a weird thing to have, because you would think, oh, you shouldn't have problems inviting people over your house, but I've been screwed over by a friend before. So, that sticks with you. So, yeah, among other things, but I don't want to go into that right now. So, yeah. I'm willing to push myself a lot this year in order to, accomplish something, in order to change some stuff. And I'm also in the process of waiting to get my degree. I'm going to be working for the first time in a while, because I've been a stay-at-home mom the whole time. So getting a job, so that also will force my social anxiety to be challenged and stuff, among other things. So, yeah, I'm pushing myself a lot this year. 9. What do I need to spark my creativity this year? I don't really need to spark anything when it comes to my creativity. I have so much of it, it's not even funny. The problem is, when you have so much creativity, you get so many ideas for projects and stuff that you get overloaded. And I'm hoping to just do what I did when I wrote Immortal Love, just to focus on one story path and then go from there, rather than try to write a bunch of stories at the same time. Same thing with dance routines that I want to do on TikTok. So it's not the issue of sparking my creativity, it's trying to manage all the creativity and ideas I have in my mind. So yeah. If I had the coming year off, what would I do with my time? I guess this means if I had a lot of free time, what would I do? Well, I've been a stay-at-home mom all these years, so I had a lot of time to think about myself and to uncover stuff. Swimming, if it's not too butt fucking cold outside. I mean, even if I swim in an indoor pool, it's daunting to be outside after you've just gone swimming and showered because, I can feel something on my skin. Let's just say that. And I don't typically dry my hair because I don't do that. I wait for my hair to dry out in the air. But when it's cold air, it's not a good idea. Let's see. Swimming, riding, doing orienteering training. I mean, with the club that I'm joining, you don't have to join it to compete. You can just join it to train as well. Trying to socialize more, even if my social anxiety and my paranoia being assholes about it. Cooking, although that usually happens in the fall. I'm a seasonal cook, per se. I like to cook a lot, mostly in the fall. Choreographed dance routines that I want to do. And then eventually go back to school, that kind of thing. So, yeah. Well, that's it, guys. That's today's video. If you like this video, smash the like button. If you subscribe, I'll be absolutely delighted, and I'll see you all later. Toodles!